how to build a real estate team. And it's funny because the other day somebody asked me the question of why do you have a team? And I could think of a few things. When I originally started a team, I started it because I was trying to leverage myself. I was getting to the point where I was doing, 40, 50 deals a year, and it just wasn't manageable at all. So obviously I had to hire some people. So the first hire I made was to hire an assistant, and then my business doubled. Then we obviously had to grow from there. And I'm going to explain, that process as well. But, the reason for having a team, guys, and I think, most of us here are from EXP, but um, one of the main reasons to have a team is to leverage yourself and to be able to do some things that you're not normally able to do, right? Because when you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, just grinding and showings and paperwork and everything else, I mean, it becomes a little bit stressful, right? I mean, it's a bit of a rush at times, but it's also can become very stressful. So building a team gives you that leverage to be able to, well, do what I'm doing right now, right? So I've had a team for, I'm going to say going on at least 15, 16 years now. My secretary yesterday told me to stay away longer because she says every time you go away, we get busy. And, I'm selling more homes and listing properties when I'm away than when I'm right there. So the luxury of having a team is that you're able to collaborate with a bunch of really good people, and it allows you the freedom to be able to do things like John's in Vaughan watching his daughter play hockey. So if he needs somebody to cover for him, then he's got somebody on the team in our partnership group that can look after things. Same thing with me. If I need somebody to go look after doing a listing appointment or doing a showing or an open house, we can leverage each other and work together. And I think that that's why people like being part of a team as well, is that they have some support and they have some marketing and they have some different things that they can do. So you got to figure out why you want to build a team, I guess, and what your reasons are going to be, and then we'll show you how to do that. So, all right. Okay, first of all, define your goals, which is kind of what we just kind of covered here, but you got to define what it is you're looking to do, right? How big do you want to be? How many people do you think you need on your team to, do the things that you want to do? Well, obviously we start with one, and then, it goes from an assistant and then it grows from there. And the bigger you get, sometimes people think that, bigger is better. And I'll tell you that bigger is not always better. Some of our biggest years that we had were our least profitable years that we've ever had as well. So hopefully I can steer you in a direction where you guys will be able to build a team and actually be profitable doing it. Okay. So what is the goal? This might include, expanding your market presence, increasing sales volume, or specializing in a specific niche. So it depends on if maybe you want to go and start doing luxury, right? Like right now I'm focusing on luxury stuff. And so that allows me to do that while maybe the agents in my partnership group were now allowed to, go and do some of the other stuff that maybe I don't want to do anymore. Right. So the next thing is you got to recruit. Okay, guys. I know recruiting is a word that people don't like to hear, but I'm going to tell you this. If you're going to run a team, you always need to be recruiting. You always need to go after more people. Okay. And the reason why is because you're always going to have people leaving. All right. And this is just like, I used to take it personally when somebody would leave my team, but I just come to the realization that, people grow, they change. I'm not going to say they use you to learn and then move on, but, everybody's always looking for the magic pill and they're always looking for something better. And sometimes they think that they can do it better on their own. And you know what? That's okay. I used to pour a lot of time and effort into people, helping them, coaching them, giving them leads, trying to help them grow their business. And then, they get to a point where they're making 100, 150 grand a year, and then they decide to go out on their own because they think they can do it cheaper. And sometimes they can, but most of the times, they can't, and they learn, the hard way that way. But you've always got to be bringing in new people, because if you don't, then at one point you're going to be like, I know when I had a small team of maybe 2 or 3 agents, if one left, I'd go into panic mode because I'm like, okay, now I've got to do all the work again, right? And I can't keep up with all the work. So that becomes a problem. Now, if you've got 20 agents on your team and 1 or 2 leave, then it's still okay. Things are good, right? So you've got to always be bringing people in. You've always got to be looking for good people. I have a saying that, hire slow, fire fast. If that person that you have brought onto your team does not meet your culture, don't just bring them on for the sake of bringing them on. Don't bring them on just because you need numbers, right? And you're trying to be number one, and you just want to get as many people on your team as possible. Because I've done that. I've made that mistake so many times, and I brought people in that the culture was just awful, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great for everybody that was out there. So, make sure that you're hiring good people that have the same vision of you as you, and also that want to do the same things that you want to do, right? Because if they're lazy and they're not motivated, and they're just looking for a quick ticket, then it's probably not a good fit. But if they're, even if they're a brand new agent, sometimes people say, well, I don't want to bring on brand new agents, they're a lot of work. Well, yeah, but brand new agents can be rock stars. Brand new agents can be amazing and lead, even if it's not the first year, maybe the second or third year, they turn into really, really successful agents, right? And they can be a crucial part of your team. So, okay, guys, if you could mute yourself as well, for the background. Okay. Oh, no. Sorry. All right. Next thing, training and support. So one of the things that we've always been, very big on is exactly what you guys are doing here right now, right? The training and the support. You've got to make sure that you're constantly giving your agents some type of training, some type of, thing that's going to help them grow and become better, right? Now, we're fortunate at EXP where we have, 80 hours a week of live training. And I'm very fortunate to have that so that our agents can tap into that so they don't have to listen to me every week anymore. It was one of the main reasons I actually joined EXP, was because I wanted agents to have, hear it from different people that were doing different things, because what I'm doing might not appeal to, what Scott does, right? Or what Pat does, or someone else. Okay. So it's nice to hear from different people. And that's why this coaching here on every Friday, guys, where, we have different agents sharing and you can learn from everybody, but you've got to tap into it. I mean, I know there's a lot of times where I've done coaching and, we had a team, and let's say we had 20 agents on the team and only 5 or 6 people would show up for the training. Well, that becomes frustrating as a team leader, because you're like, okay, I'm not the one that needs the training here. You guys are the one that needs the training. You say you want a training, but you're not showing up. So you can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped, right? If they're not willing to put in the time and the effort and the work, then guess what? They're probably not going to be very successful. So some team leaders have it differently than what I have. Okay. Some team leaders make it mandatory for people to show up for certain training. They make it mandatory to show up for making calls, right? There's even some team leaders that have, daily huddles where every morning they meet and, agents have to show up. All right. Now, I changed that with my team quite a few years ago. And when we made the move, we closed our brokerage and we made the move to EXP, we actually made it more of a partnership group so that the agents, they have their own, they have their own schedules. They can do what they want whenever they want. If they want help and they want support, we're here for them. And, we support them with the paperwork side of things, the marketing side of things, and helping them when they need help. But we let them do what they want, because I just don't want to babysit anymore. And I don't want to be calling agents every week and saying, hey, what'd you do this week? Well, how many calls did you make or whatever? Because I know that that's not what I would like. So I kind of give our agents, the freedom to do the things that they want to do and just use whatever it is they want to use. That's part of our system. Okay. All right, team culture. So this is something that we've started spending more time and effort in lately. Because being in a cloud-based company, what we've decided to do is start doing, fun events, different things, paintball, golf, obviously pickleball over the winter. We did a bunch of pickleball stuff. We're meeting every week for people that wanted to do that. And meeting once a month as well to do, we're doing one, basically a training event and a team meeting all together once a month as well. So we're actually doing a lot of stuff that, are fun things and fun activities. So I think it's important that you do that. All right, roles and responsibilities. So it's another good thing to make sure that you have a contract. All right. So when you're building a team, you should have some type of contract where it explains what it is that you're responsible for as a team leader. If you don't have this in writing, it's going to cause you a lot of headaches down the road, because the agent might come back to you and say, hey, you said you were going to do this. You said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. Right. Well, now I can look back at my sheet where the agent signed and it says exactly what services we provide and what we do and what their split is. Okay. And I'm going to share that at the end as well and show you what ours looks like. I know Steve and Tarek have a really good one as well. And there's, identifies as well the different models that they have. But you need to have something in writing so that everybody knows what they're doing. Because you know what? We get so busy, guys, and we're doing stuff all the time. And sometimes we might forget. So I do it more for me than for anybody else, because I want to make sure that I know what I offered and then also what the agent's expectations are as well. Okay. Now, we also have roles and responsibilities in our office. So our admin person is very, very systemized as to what she does. So when a listing comes in, she knows. And I've been spending a lot of time with her on this in the last little while, and it's amazing how organized she is. And she has a checklist of every item that has to happen. So it's not a bad thing to have a checklist with your agents as to what they need to do when they list the property, when they're dealing with a buyer, what forms they need to fill out. Checklists are really, really good to have so that everybody is systemized and all on the same page when they're doing things. So now talking about systems and processes. All right. I don't know what you guys use. We use what we call a Trello board. If you've never used Trello, it's amazing. It's very easy. Even I can use it. I'm not a tech savvy guy. Trevor will tell you. I'm Trevor's my savior when it comes to technology. I'm always running into his office asking him for help. But I will say that, in our office, we are very systemized, and it's because of this Trello board. And the Trello board, you can create different columns where where you stand. And if you have multiple people working in your office, for example, we have an admin person and she has her Trello board set up. And as soon as a file starts, everybody gets notified. So then my marketing person knows that, okay, hey, a new listing just came in. Now I've got to do this, 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 and this. And there's an actual list of everything that he needs to do.
Who's on there? I see.
So everybody knows what they're doing, and there's nothing missed, because if it doesn't get done, then it's not completed and somebody's going to catch it. Okay. So systems are very important to keep things streamlined and to keep everybody on the same page and to make sure that nothing is missed, because there's so much paperwork in our business, guys, that you know what, there's always something that's going to get missed. And until we were systemized, I'll tell you what, it took me 5 years to create system. My 5th year in the business, I got a coach. Back then it was Craig Proctor. And the first thing that they talked to us about was systemizing our business. And until then, my business was a disaster. It was a mess. And my biggest stress in my whole career at that time was worrying about what did I miss, right? But with the Trello board, it's very easy. Now, you may have something else. You may have other systems that you use, and that's okay. The best one is the one that you use, and actually stay with it. Okay. Strong online presence. So one of the things is, we talk about recruiting, we talk about, being present out in the market. You have to make sure that you're visible to everybody in the industry, and not just for your clients that are buying houses, but you also need to, show that you have a good team, a good presence, you're having a lot of fun, because other agents will look at that and go, hey, you know what? They look like they've got their stuff together. They look like they're doing really well over there. They look like they're having fun. I'm going to inquire about what it looks like to be part of their team. Okay. So I know there's a lot of people on this call that are very, very good at this. And, they attract agents to them because of what they're doing online. All right. Now, I know this sounds really ridiculous, but there are some people in here that don't have a team yet. I know that. So, one of the things you want to make sure is you got a really good website, search engine optimization, social media marketing to attract potential clients and build brand awareness. All right. So when people see that you have your team, what is your added value proposition? What are you offering people? What's out there, right? And I will tell you that video is number one. Okay. We all know that Pat does a ton of video, and guess what? It's created a ton of business for him because he is on video all the time, right? Now, I just started doing video back in December. We were doing a little bit before, but then we cranked it up and we started doing a lot more. And my business, my phone started to ring. So it does work, guys. Like, you just got to do the work, and you got to block time every week to do that kind of stuff. All right. Collaborate with industry partners. So we're going to develop strategic partnerships with other professionals in the real estate industry, like mortgage brokers, home inspectors, and lawyers. That's a given whether you have a team or not, right? But you want to make sure that you are creating really good partnerships. I had a partner in the mortgage industry that I was using for, I'm going to say, probably 18 years of the 21 years that I've been in the business. The only reason I don't use her anymore is because she's pretty much retired. Okay. But we had an amazing partnership where she would send me business, I would send her business. And we did that with a few different, mortgage people that we had. And those were strategic partnerships that created hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of commissions to us. All right. Now, you may also have some lawyers that you need, right? Always good to have 2 or 3 lawyers in your back pocket to make sure that you can refer these people to, your clients. All right. So, and it's also good for your clients as well. All right, lead generation strategies. What do you do to create leads for your team? So as a team leader, you're going to have to find a way to create some type of leads, right? Whether it's, and there's a bunch of different sources of leads, right? Open houses is one lead source. Online lead generation is lead source. Facebook videos, what else? YouTube videos, right? Those are all different lead sources that you need to create. So you're going to have to train the people on your team to work those different sources in order to generate leads all over the place. Now, you can also buy leads. All right. Now, this year has not been good for buying leads. All right. We've asked to increase our budget, and the leads aren't even, basically being created because people aren't clicking through. And I don't know if that's just because it's gotten stagnated and there's so many lead companies out there now. Like when I started doing it, 15 years ago, there was maybe 3 or 4 really good companies doing it. Now it seems like there's, thousands and thousands of companies doing lead gen. So I don't know if it's getting a little bit, washed out. We use a thing called KV Core at EXP because the platform is free for us. So KV Core has been a good source of leads. But again, that's only about 3% of your conversion. You're only going to convert about 3%. If you're really good, you'll convert 3% of them. So make sure that you have different campaigns running and different sources of things coming in. All right. So because we're in an industry where things are constantly changing and moving, you're going to have to make sure that you can adapt. If you can't adapt, you're going to die, right? I know when I looked at EXP 4.5 years ago, and I was nervous because I knew as an owner, I could not compete with this model. And I knew that the big brands at the time could not compete with them either, like the old fashioned brand. They weren't able to compete with it. So we were having to adapt. Did I want to adapt? No. But I had my 24-year-old son, Pat, saying, listen, either we do this or we get left behind. And if you're not willing to change, then, probably in 5-6 years from now, you're going to be obsolete, which probably would have been true, because with the way the market changed and, we went through COVID and everything else, it was a blessing in disguise that this came across the table for us. So we had to adapt. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Did we have to make changes? 100%. Right. But was it rewarding? Absolutely. Right. Because of the changes that we made, we're able to live the life that we're living now and have a little more freedom and not work as much and, be healthier and have some really amazing people that have surrounded us because of the people that we've met through the network. All right. So it says here, be open to feedback from team members and clients to continuously refine your approach. All right. If your team members are constantly asking you for a certain thing and your ego gets in the way and you keep saying no, 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 because it's not your idea, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities, because there are a lot of good ideas coming out of our agents. And that's why I like to call our team a partnership group, because we are partners. If somebody brings something really good to the table, I want to know about it, because I'm always open to doing something different. Right. Not maybe to everything, but it's got to make sense, right? It's got to make sense. But everybody's got great ideas, and I've got people like Pat and Trevor that are young And they're always coming up with some neat ideas, and we've got to listen to that, right? Because times are changing, and if you're not willing to change, then you're just going to fall back. All right, guys, that was basically the presentation that I have. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to open this up to questions from you guys, to see what questions you have, like, because I know some of you guys have teams, or you're thinking about building teams, and is there anything that you guys are struggling with, that you need help with, or that you think, hey, what are you doing here? Or what are you doing there? How does this look for you? I will share real quickly, actually, my one more thing, and this is the different models that we offer. So we do have, if anybody wants this, I can send it to you, but basically, I mean, this applies to EXP, but it could apply to any company, really. But we have 3 different models that we offer our agents, and this is the list of things that we provide. So people know exactly where they stand. They know what their splits are. We make them sign it. And if they don't want this model, then we can put them on option number 2 or option number 1, and we can change and give them, different option. But here is, it's black and white. They know exactly what they're getting. Okay. So if anybody wants that, I'm happy to share it with you. And those are our splits. Now, some people ask about splits. What are your splits? Well, you got to figure out what works for you. Right. I don't want to necessarily talk about what my splits are, but my splits are based on your performance and based on where you finished your year. And the reason I did that is to compensate people that are working hard. And, not only that, but when a brand new agent comes in, they're 10 times more work than an agent that's, doing 15, 20, 30 deals a year. Right. So because you got to spend more time with them, you got to train them, you got to, there's a lot of hand holding that goes on. So we charge them a little bit more. But then as they hit 50 grand, they get a, a better split. And then when they get over that 100 grand, then they get an even better split. And yeah. So any questions out there at all that you guys are struggling with, or you need help with, or anything at all?
Yeah, I have a question. Um, you said it's better to have like a lot of real estate agents so that if you lose two, then you're fine and stuff like that. But like, let's say when you're starting, how do you make sure to feed those agents? Like, how do you know when you have enough volume where you can be 100% confident that all these real estate agents are going to be satisfied from being part of your team?
That's a good question. So again, the first step in hiring is, for me, I hired an assistant, right? Because I want to eliminate all the C and D activities and just do all the A and B activities. The A and B activities were the money-making activities. So what I wanted to do was eliminate that stuff so I could be more productive. Once I did that, my business volume doubled because I was no longer doing all the crap, right? Then I said, okay, now I need an agent to help me with buyers. So then what I did was I hired an agent to do that. Well, then because that was happening, that was allowing me more time to go list even more properties. So now I was listing even more. And now I was like, okay, this agent can't handle the volume that I'm giving them. So now I had to hire somebody else. So you don't start with 10, you're going to work your way up to it. Right now, I mean, I have, I think, over 20 agents on our team right now in our partnership group. And, the only thing with a team is that it's expensive, right? It's expensive to have agents on your team because you're paying for their marketing, their signs, their videos, everything, right? And then you have to have staff in place to support them. Okay. So there's a fine line, and in making sure that you're going to be profitable. Because, in the beginning, I always wanted to have the biggest team do the biggest amount of numbers. But the problem with that is it didn't mean you were making the most amount of money. Right. So that became an issue because my expenses were so high. Now that we're building an EXP team, that has changed, right? Like I went out and found 40 agents, that's turned into over 800 agents. And the cool thing about that type of team is that there's no expenses attached to it. The only expense I have is my time having calls, right? Doing Zoom calls. So I like that kind of team, right? Because it generates good passive income and allows me to not have to be everywhere all the time. But then my real estate team also generates, small, and this is the thing. Some of the agents, and there are some agents here. Yeah, there's some agents here that are on my team. Some of the agents think that as a team leader, you're making a ton of money, right? But when you see what the expenses are, the profit margins are quite small. So that's why you have to have big volume, right? And you know what? It's just another stream of income that's coming in. It may be small, but it's still a stream of income, right? So you're selling your homes that you're doing, which is very, very profitable when you sell your own home. Then you've got what your agents are doing, which is a small profit that's coming in. Now with EXP, you've got rev share, that's another stream of income. Then you got stock, that's another stream of income. So ideally, what you want to do is create as many streams of income as you possibly can. But your team email is going to grow, gradually, right? So make sure you get busy first. Then when you're busy enough, then you bring somebody on, and then that will free up your time, and then you'll just continue to grow. Make sense?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah. Hey, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Great.
Okay, actually, one thing I'd like to add to that I feel like you've done really well to help answer that is I feel like you also run your model more of a like teach the people to fish version, not like feed them, which is something I wish I could have learned from you sooner because I feel like I started my team on a different approach where I was feeding them so much and then eventually they keep wanting more and more. So I think that's something you can learn from Pierre too is like teach them to fish. Don't give them the fish. Or when the fish get dry, then you're going to be feeling that too. So,
Yeah.
um,
It's a good point
my
because
question though,
you get stressed. You get stressed worrying about having to feed your team all the time.
yeah,
It's my biggest stress.
yeah. My question though is recently, like I've had people who want to be on my team that I don't want to be on my team, but I would like to sponsor them. How do you handle those conversations? Because I had a meeting last week or the week before, and she really wanted to be part of our team, but I just knew she was not a good fit. How do you convert them still with those conversations?
Well, I mean, it's very delicate. You got to be very, very careful, right? But I mean, I've had people come to us as well and, want to be on our team, and I know it's not a good fit. And I know I don't want
Mhm.
drama. I don't want, I've done that. I've been there, I've done it. And I'm going to run from it as fast as I can when I see it. Because drama will kill the buzz of your entire team, right? So what I do now is basically I'll just say, hey, listen, I think it's a better fit for you to be on option number one, as opposed to my team option, because I want to make sure that I can feed the people on my team and make sure that they're well looked after. And I don't want to spread it too thin because then you're not going to be happy and they're not going to be happy. But I will help you, right? As your sponsor, I will help you grow your business. I'm here for you for questions and support and everything else. And if you're going to sponsor them, that's your responsibility anyways, right? You can't sponsor somebody and just let them go. You're supposed to be there to help them, right? And that's what our business is all about, is helping each other. So I think that that's probably the way around it. Make sense?
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, good. But yeah, the team leader too, right? I mean, the stress is real, like having to feed your agents and make sure that they're doing well. I mean, my biggest thing is I just want to see people do well. And I want to try to
Mhm.
offer as much as I can and do as much, like now, with even my marketing department and stuff, like it's a matter of making sure that, hey, do we have leads coming in? Do we have the best marketing out there? Are we really doing everything we can to help these agents grow? And yeah, you got to learn how to fish, because if you're dependent on somebody all the time to feed you, that's not a good thing either, right? So training and sales training is very, very important. And the people that put in the effort are the ones that are going to be the most successful. And if you look at our team, the people that show up, the people that come to everything, the people that go to the training are the ones that are doing the best. So, it's funny when somebody leaves your team and they say, oh, you know what? I really feel like I wasn't getting any support and I wasn't getting any help and all this. I'm like, okay, when's the last time you showed up at a meeting? When's the last time you showed up at an event? When's the last time you showed up at a training? You haven't been to anything. So if you don't come to anything, I can't help you. There's nothing I can do, right? You want them to do well, but they got to want to do well themselves. Emil, go ahead.
Yeah, we're talking about support for real estate agents that are in your team, but what about support for the team lead? Who's like, let's say I start my team and I need support. Who's best for me to reach out to? I know I have a sponsor, you know, my sponsors and stuff, but like, uh, just in general, what type of agent or person is best suited to help me out in terms of building the strongest foundation and making sure that everything
Yeah.
works out well long term?
So you're very fortunate because you have a very strong upline, right? You've got a bunch of good people. You know, we always talk about the 7 levels below us. Well, we have 7 levels above us that we should probably focus on even more because, I mean, we are here to help you because we have vested interest in seeing you grow, right? So you can reach out to any one of us at any time and say, "Hey, I'd love to have a 30-minute call with you and see what you're doing," and then pick like Steve and Tarek, right? I mean, you can pick their brain, Sasha, all those guys like John Sebastian. Like, oh my God, you've got so many powerhouses in your upline. That's what we're here for. So that's who I would suggest you go to. That's what I did, right? I mean, I was very fortunate to have Jay Kinder, Al Stasic, Michael Reese, all those guys, and I would just reach up to them, and they were like 6, 7, levels above me, right? But I still reached out to them because they had what I wanted, they knew what I wanted to achieve, and they helped me. So
Thank you. Yeah.
use those people. That's what this system is all about. So make sure you use it. All right. Any other questions, guys? No? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. We're going to get this on the recording. It'll be on the Northern Alliance website and our new website that we're creating as well. We're going to create a video and we'll put it on there as well. So if you ever want to go back to it, it'll be there for you guys to view. So have a great day. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Pierre.
See you
Good
guys.
weekend.
Bye.
Salut.
Cheers.
Thanks, Pierre.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.